It's 1903. Potential is everywhere. The Industrial Revolution is creating infrastructure on a scale never before seen. Everyone wants to play a part, and no place can afford to be left out. Almost 100 years ago, the Erie Canal changed the way we moved goods, they said. It pumped thousands of barrels of grain a day from America's heartland through the port of New York. But Montreal, Philadelphia, and Gulf ports like New Orleans and Galveston are gaining prominence, and the railroads are threatening to cut us out of the picture entirely. We'll build a better canal system, a New York State canal system, and New York City will once again dominate this country's grain shipping. But there's one small problem. The system can't keep up with supply, and the canal barges, they sometimes sit idle for weeks, swollen with grains, waiting for the giant steamships to carry their cargo across the Atlantic or down the coast. It costs us money and slows us down. But there's a solution. We'll build a terminal, a giant terminal. It'll be able to move massive amounts of grain so the barges and steamships can come and go at the drop of a hat. We'll put it here, in Brooklyn. And so they did. If you build it, they will come was the idea. The terminal complex was, according to historic record, extremely well built, innovative in design, coherent in economic mission, and notably, fully lacking an adjustment of that mission to contemporary transport economies. In short, it was doomed to fail. But New York State had already invested quite a bit of effort in its canal system. Such introspection was nowhere to be found. Of course, I knew none of this when my friend Shelby and I were wandering around Red Hook one clear winter afternoon in 2005. Lo and behold, we came upon this. This building is so bizarre, I said. It's huge and oddly shaped. Shelby, who delights in breaking the rules, suggests, let's find a way inside. We searched for a way in, but it seemed pretty clear that visitors weren't welcome. Yet the more I looked at it, the more perplexed I became. And of course, the more the building seemed to challenge me to find a way in. As we poked around the nearby vats of petroleum, I kept thinking, what could this building possibly have been? Or for that matter, what is it doing now? More to the point, how in New York City, where real estate speculators salivate over the tiniest blank spots on a map, how is this building still here? I was confused and looking for answers. The concept behind the grain terminal was to make it the biggest everything. The water was the deepest to accommodate the biggest ships. The pier was the longest to accommodate more of them. And the grain elevator, the only surviving piece of the structure, was the largest in the country to date. It could hold 2 million bushels of grain, approximately the same size as 700 studio apartments in Manhattan. I didn't make it inside that day, but I did have a plan. I would return a few weeks later with my friend Chris. We would sneak behind the giant salt piles stored up for salting the city's roads during snowstorms. The piles would give us cover from what looked like a security guard trailer on the other side of the lot. But there was another issue. We'd have to shimmy along a fence, overlooking a foul-smelling canal. There was no room for error, and we didn't know what or who we would find on the other side. We were vulnerable, so we had to go quickly. The grain terminal was really a network of building and structures, a mega complex designed to move grain as efficiently as possible from one mode of transportation to another. The whole thing was built in 9 years. But the grain elevator, which wasn't even a part of the original design, is a monolith poured from concrete in only 13 days. It impressed the engineering world, a bold statement to New York's technical prowess and economic ambitions. We shimmy over the canal and hurry down the breakwater. We discover that the building is literally straddling the mucky water and the land. Despite its immense mass, it feels ready to topple. Still, we press on. We're close to getting inside, but we're not really even sure what inside means. We peer through the broken windows. It resembles a parking garage with thick concrete pillars and not much else. There aren't any easy ways in that won't blow our cover. All the windows are bolted shut. We ignore the no trespassing signs. There's no indication of recent activity, but still Chris gets nervous. I could get in trouble with my job if we get caught, he says, second-guessing our whole endeavor. Then, we find an unlocked window behind a huge metal sheet, and after a series of back-breaking contortions, we're in.